Once upon a time, in a village called Kaba, surrounded by tall baobab trees and beautiful farms, there lived a beautiful and kind girl named Tamara. Tamara was the best dancer in the whole village. Everyone loved her because she danced so well and was always nice to everyone. Tamara lived with her parents. Her father's name was Alinko. Alinko was a farmer, but he was very poor. He loved money more than anything else. He would do anything to get money. He would lie, cheat, or steal. Alinko spent all his money on gambling. He would go out with his friends, gamble all night, and come home with nothing. Sometimes he would even get angry and beat Tamara's mother when he had no money. Tamara's mother sold fruits at the market. She worked hard every day to make sure there was food on the table. Tamara helped her mother whenever she could. She was always the best among her friends and loved to dance. Everyone in the village knew Tamara because of her dancing. They would say, "Look, there goes Tamara, the best dancer in Kaba." Tamara loved to dance, and her friend Kojo always cheered her on. Kojo was a good friend who cared a lot about Tamara. Life in Kaba Village was simple. People worked hard during the day and gathered in the evening to share stories. But for Tamara, every day was a mix of joy and sadness. She loved to dance and make people happy, but she was always worried about her father's gambling and the trouble it brought. And so, Tamara's days went by, filled with dancing, helping her mother, and trying to stay away from her father's anger. She dreamed of a better life, one where she could dance freely without worries. Tamara had a close friend named Kojo. Kojo was always there to cheer for Tamara at dancing competitions. He would clap and shout, "Go Tamara, you can do it." Tamara felt happy whenever Kojo was around. One day, Alinko, Tamara's father, was with his friends. He heard them talking about a big dancing competition in the next village. The winner would get a bag of silver coins. Alinko's eyes lit up. A bag of silver coins, he thought. He knew Tamara could win because she was the best dancer. Alinko didn't usually care about Tamara's dancing. He even thought it was a waste of time. But the thought of winning money changed his mind. He decided to take Tamara to the competition to get the prize. "Get ready, Tamara," Alinko said. "We are going to the next village for a dancing competition." Tamara was surprised. Her father never cared about her dancing before. But she was excited too. She loved dancing and wanted to win. On the day of the competition, Alinko took Tamara to the next village. He didn't tell her mother. Kojo saw them leaving and decided to follow. He wanted to make sure Tamara was safe, so he followed them silently, hiding behind bushes. When they arrived, many people recognized Tamara. "Look, it's Tamara, the best dancer," they said. Tamara felt a little nervous, but also happy. The competition began. When it was Tamara's turn, she danced with all her heart. The crowd cheered loudly. "Tamara! Tamara!" they shouted. Tamara smiled and danced even better. In the end, Tamara won the competition. She was given a bag of silver coins as the prize. Alinko quickly took the money. He didn't even say thank you to Tamara. He just grabbed the bag and left. Kojo, who had been watching, felt sad for Tamara. He went to her and said, "You were amazing, Tamara. Here, take some of the money I picked up during your dance." Tamara smiled a little and thanked Kojo. Tamara walked home with a heavy heart. She loved dancing, but her father's greed made her sad. When she got home, she told her mother what happened. Her mother hugged her and said, "You did your best, Tamara. I am proud of you." That night, Tamara went to bed with mixed feelings. She was happy she won, but she wished her father cared about her, not just the money. Alinko was very pleased with the money Tamara had won. He started taking her to every dancing competition he heard about. You will dance and win more money, he told Tamara. Even though Tamara loved to dance, her father's greed made her sad. At every competition, Tamara danced beautifully. She always won, and the people cheered for her. But every time, Alinko took all the prize money. He didn't praise her or thank her. He just grabbed the money and spent it on gambling. Tamara's heart grew heavy. She loved dancing, but her father's actions made her feel bad. She wished he would be proud of her for her talent, not just for the money she brought home. Kojo saw how sad Tamara was. You dance so well, Tamara. Don't let your father's greed take away your joy, he said, trying to comfort her. Tamara smiled at Kojo's kind words, but she couldn't shake off the sadness. Tamara's friends noticed her father's behavior too. They started avoiding her. She's the daughter of a gambler, they whispered. Some even teased her. Your father only cares about money, they said. Tamara felt lonely. She missed her friends and the happy times they shared. Now, she often felt alone, with only Kojo to support her. Kojo stayed by her side, always cheering her up and reminding her of her worth. One day, Tamara's mother noticed how sad her daughter had become. Tamara, my dear, why are you so sad? She asked. Tamara told her mother everything. Her mother sighed and hugged her. You are a wonderful dancer, Tamara. Don't let anyone make you feel less. You have a gift and one day things will get better. Tamara tried to stay hopeful, but each competition made her feel worse. She danced, won, and watched her father take all the money. She felt trapped in a cycle of her father's greed. Despite her sadness, Tamara continued to dance. She danced because it was her passion, and she loved making people happy. She held on to the hope that one day her father would see her talent and be proud of her for who she was, not just for the money she won. And so, Tamara's days went on. She danced, her father took the money, and her friends drifted away. But deep inside, Tamara kept the spark of hope alive, believing that someday things would change for the better. At the end of every year, the village of Kaba held a grand festival. It was a time of celebration, with music, dancing, and lots of food. But it was also a time when fathers chose suitors for their daughters. The girls would dress in their best clothes, hoping their fathers would pick kind and handsome men for them. Tamara's father, Alinko, saw this festival as another chance to get money. He decided that anyone who wanted to marry Tamara must bring 5 bags of silver coins and 2 bags of gold coins. It was a very high price. On the day of the festival, the village square was filled with people. There were colorful decorations, and the air was filled with excitement. Fathers and their daughters stood together, waiting for the suitors to come forward. Tamara looked beautiful in her festival dress. She danced gracefully, and the crowd cheered. Tamara! Tamara! They shouted, delighted by her performance. But inside, Tamara felt nervous. She knew her father's demand was too high, and she worried no one would be able to meet it. When it was Alinko's turn to choose a suitor for Tamara, he stood up and spoke loudly. Anyone who wants to marry my daughter Tamara must bring 5 bags of silver coins and 2 bags of gold coins. The crowd gasped. It was a huge amount of money. Many of the young men who admired Tamara backed down. They knew they couldn't meet such a high demand. Tamara's heart sank as she watched them step away. She glanced at Kojo, hoping he could find a way, but they both knew it was impossible. Kojo was poor and couldn't bring such a large amount. As the crowd murmured and whispered, an unexpected figure stepped forward. To everyone's surprise, Kasali, the oldest and richest man in the village, stepped forward. He had what Alinko demanded: 5 bags of silver coins and 2 bags of gold coins. The crowd gasped. Kasali has the money, they whispered. Tamara's heart sank. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Kasali was very old and already had many wives and children. She didn't want to marry him. She looked at Kojo, hoping he could do something, but Kojo was heartbroken. He knew he couldn't compete with Kasali's wealth. Kojo sat on the ground and cried. He loved Tamara and wanted to marry her, but he had no money. Tamara felt her own tears start to fall. She couldn't imagine a life with Kasali. She wanted to be with Kojo, the friend who always supported her. Tamara ran home crying, her heart full of sorrow. Mother, she cried as she entered the house. Her mother hugged her tightly, feeling her daughter's pain. Why is this happening to me? Tamara sobbed. Her mother had no answers, only comfort. Alinko, on the other hand, was very happy. He saw the bags of silver and gold and couldn't hide his excitement. Thank you, Kasali, Alinko said, taking the money. I will bring my daughter to you. Kasali nodded, satisfied. He had gotten what he wanted. Alinko promised to bring Tamara to Kasali's house the next day. He went to the drinking spot with his friends and started spending the money, feeling proud of himself. That night, Tamara couldn't sleep. She thought about her future with Kasali and felt her heart break. She loved Kojo, but her father's greed had taken her chance at happiness. She wished things could be different. The next morning, Tamara knew she had no choice. Her father had made the decision, and she was to marry the oldest and richest man in the village. Tamara was filled with despair. She couldn't bear the thought of marrying Kasali, the oldest man in the village. She decided to run away from the village. She packed her belongings quietly, hoping to leave without anyone noticing. As Tamara was about to step out of the house, she heard the sound of drums. The loud rhythmic beating echoed through their home. It was a sign that the villagers were gathering for the wedding. Tamara's heart sank. She knew she had no choice but to face her fate. Tamara sat down and wept bitterly. She felt trapped and helpless. Meanwhile, her father, Alinko, was outside, drinking and celebrating with his friends, while Tamara's mother was inside crying for her only daughter. Alinko then walked into the room, saw her crying, and grew angry. Why are you still here? He shouted. Get up and go to Kasali's house. Alinko grabbed Tamara by the arm and dragged her out of the house. Tamara looked back at her mother one last time, tears streaming down her face. Her mother's eyes were filled with sorrow, but there was nothing she could do to help her daughter. Alinko marched Tamara to Kasali's house. The villagers watched, feeling sorry for Tamara. They knew she didn't want to marry Kasali, but they couldn't change what was happening. Tamara's heart felt heavy with sadness and fear. When they arrived at Kasali's house, Alinko handed Tamara over to him. Here is your new wife, Alinko said proudly. Kasali nodded and took Tamara by the hand. He led her into his large house, filled with his other wives and many children. Tamara felt out of place. She didn't belong there. The other wives looked at her with a mix of curiosity and pity. Tamara felt more alone than ever before. She missed Kojo and the simple, happy moments they shared. Tamara cried all day, her heart heavy with sorrow. She knew she had to spend the night with Kasali, and the thought filled her with dread. She couldn't eat or sleep, her mind racing with worry and sadness. The other wives tried to comfort her, but Tamara felt more alone than ever. As night fell, Tamara sat in her room, tears streaming down her face. She thought about Kojo and the love they shared. She wished things could be different, but she felt trapped by her father's actions and the village customs. Just as Tamara was losing hope, there was a knock on her door. The sound startled her. She wiped her tears and reluctantly went to open it, expecting to see Kasali. But to her greatest surprise, standing at the door were Kojo and Kasali together. "Tamara, open the door," Kasali's voice called gently. Tamara's hands trembled as she unlatched the door and peeked out. There stood Kojo, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and sorrow, and beside him was Kasali, looking serious yet kind. "Kojo, what are you doing here?" Tamara asked, her voice shaking with confusion and a glimmer of hope. Kasali sat with Tamara and Kojo, ready to explain everything. "Tamara," he began gently, "I need you to understand something very important. Kojo is my only son." Tamara looked confused. "But you have many children," she said softly. Kasali nodded. "Yes, I have many children, but none of them are truly mine. I recently discovered that I cannot have children. All the other wives came to me already pregnant by other men, thinking I wouldn't notice. Only Kojo is truly my son." Tamara's eyes widened in surprise. She turned to Kojo, who nodded. "It's true, Tamara. I didn't know either until recently. Kasali is my father." Kasali continued, "When I found out Kojo was my son, I wanted to give him the best life possible. I saw how much he loved you, Tamara. That's why I chose you. Not for myself, but for him." Tamara felt a wave of relief and joy wash over her. She looked at Kojo, tears of happiness in her eyes. "This is a blessing in disguise," she whispered. Kojo took her hands in his. "Tamara, I've loved you for so long. I couldn't bear the thought of losing you. Now we can be together, with my father's blessing." Tamara hugged Kojo tightly. "I promise to be with you forever," she said, her voice filled with love and determination. Kasali watched them with a smile. "You two deserve to be happy. I will do everything I can to support you both." The news spread quickly through the village. People were amazed by the turn of events. They had expected Tamara to marry Kasali, but now she was to be with Kojo, the man she truly loved. The villagers celebrated the union of Tamara and Kojo. They danced, sang, and shared in the joy of the young couple. Tamara felt like her heart would burst with happiness. She had faced so much sadness and hardship, but now she had a bright future with Kojo. When Alinko heard the news that Tamara was to marry Kojo instead of Kasali, his heart sank. He realized the extent of his greed and the pain he had caused his daughter. He knew in that moment that Tamara would never forgive him. Feeling deep shame and regret, Alinko decided to leave the village. He packed a small bag and walked away. His head hung low. The weight of his actions pressed heavily on his shoulders. He had lost his daughter's trust and respect, and now he had to face the consequences. Alinko's friends, who had enjoyed the money and palm wine with him, were the first to turn on him. "You are a foolish man, Alinko," they said. "You put money above your own daughter's happiness. Look at what you have done." Alinko felt even more alone as he left the village. He had no one to turn to, no place to call home. The regret in his heart grew with each step he took. He knew he had made terrible mistakes and that he had to live with them. Back in the village, Tamara and Kojo started their new life together. They were surrounded by the love and support of the villagers. Kasali stood by them, proud to see his son, and Tamara happy. The village celebrated their union, and Tamara's story became one of hope and resilience. Tamara and Kojo built a life filled with love and joy. They danced together, shared their dreams, and worked side by side. Tamara continued to dance, her passion undimmed, and Kojo was always there to cheer her on. The villagers never forgot Tamara's story. They told it to their children and grandchildren, reminding them of the power of love and the importance of staying true to one's heart. Tamara and Kojo's love story became a legend, a beacon of hope and strength for generations to come. Tamara and Kojo lived happily ever after. They faced challenges together and supported each other through everything. Their love grew stronger with each passing day, a testament to their unwavering bond. And so, the tale of Tamara, the best dancer in Kaba Village, and Kojo, the loving friend who became her husband, was remembered and cherished by all. It was a story of love, hope, and the triumph of the human spirit, shining brightly through the ages. Tamara's journey had been filled with trials, but her resilience and the love she shared with Kojo brought her the happiness she deserved. The village of Kaba continued to thrive, inspired by the story of Tamara and Kojo, and the lessons of love and perseverance they taught. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, please like the video, comment what you learned from the tale, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more enchanting tales just like this one. Thank you.